Hi, I'm Bob Nystrom.
Hi, this is Bo Dietl.
Hey, this is Rich Big Daddy Salgado.
Hi, this is Don Gidney, and you're watching Sports Biz.
Sports Biz.
Sports Biz with LD.
Sports fans, this is Sports Biz with LD.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Larry Davis. Welcome to Sports Biz with LD. Wow, it's been a week already? Man, and these shows go so quick. The weeks go so quick. You know, as usual, got to go to Facebook, Sports Biz with LD, the Twitter, at Sports Biz with LD, and the website, Sports Biz with LD. And you can go on that website. There's a lot going on. Giveaways, past shows, interview with athletes. I mean, all kinds of different stuff that I've done. And of course, let's love the Daily Blue. You can always find us on thedailyblue.com. Our first segment is usually off my chest, but today I got a special guest that I'm going to bring right on. Him and his team wrote a book called Slam Kicks, Basketball Sneakers That Changed the Game. Ben Osborne, welcome to Sports Biz with LD. How you doing?
Good, Larry. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure to have you. I mean, come on. This book, these sneakers. I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but it's like the other night I'm watching the iHeart radio show, and everyone's wearing sneakers. You know, nobody wears shoes anymore. You know, they wear suits with shoes, and it all started, what did it start, 1985? Ben, with the Jordan brand with Nike?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, sneakers have been popular for a long time, but yeah, I'd say it, you know, the Jordans are what really took it into, you know, mass pop culture, and then it's just exploded, and it does seem like it gets bigger every year, you know, from celebrities to basketball players to non-basketball playing athletes, you know, artists, whatever. It seems like everyone's got a sneaker collection these days.
You're right. A collection is not the word. It's like the women who have all their shoe collections. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and how'd you guys over at Slam come up with the idea to write the book, and who helped you and all that good stuff?
Well, I mean, Slam is now in its 21st year, biggest basketball magazine in the world.
Wow.
About 3 years into that, I mean, we always covered sneakers. Then they started a magazine called Kicks, which comes out once a year, which is dedicated to shoes. So it's like, you know, we're basketball first, but sneakers are a big part of what we cover. We do that every month in Slam, and then once a year in Kicks, and we get invited to a lot of events, you know, so we do a lot of sneaker coverage on our website and our social media outlets. And yet we'd never done a book about anything. And sneakers seemed like, you know, there's lots of books out there about the best players of all time and stuff like that, but there haven't been that many well-done books about shoes, and certainly not with a basketball focus, which we always come at first. So we felt like there was an opening there, and it kind of fulfilled a dream that, you know, a lot of us that work here have had for a long time, which was to get a real, proper book out. So we pitched it around, and Rizzoli Publishing, who does beautiful, beautiful art books, was interested, thankfully, you know, and I think mostly because of the photos, and they know that it's a hot topic. So we worked out a deal, and, you know, licensed the name Slam and Kicks, and got to work, and it came out in March, and it's doing great.
Yeah, it is doing great. I mean, I read it. Is it? Am I correct to say? Because I read it, I know, but the Jordan brand, the whole brand, not just the sneakers, is in the $1 billion number. Ben, is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's a monster. You know, they still make you know, performance shoes that players like Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook are wearing. Which do pretty well, I'm sure, at decent business, but the bulk of it is these retros where they're just putting out, updated versions of old sneakers, and these things sell out in, minutes, hours, whatever, via online, or, the store's lucky enough to get pairs. Kids will camp out, or even grown-ups camp out. And they sell in, instantly. I mean, it's been...
Right, they camp out.
It's been a trend that has lasted now, 5 or 6 years of just outrageously hot.
And then all the limited editions, right? I mean, sometimes they'll have limited editions up to number 23 or more. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, the thing is, there are some true limited edition releases, but part of the genius of their line is that no one really knows how many shoes they're making. I mean, they're getting out. They're usually the best. The Jordan 3s, the Jordan 4s, whatever, they're usually the best-selling shoes in a given month, and yet it's sort of presented as if they're limited. I mean, you don't know exactly what stores are going to have them or how many copies, so it creates this frenzy, but, it might not even be that limited, but they have it, they have the consumer, concern that it might be limited, so... it's like the best of both worlds for the brand. It's the demand of a limited release without even necessarily limiting it that greatly. So it's a great business for them, and it started with the best player ever and a guy that was sort of a style icon on the court. And these days, it's a shoe that people love, that represents a lot of different things.
It's you got to have it. I mean, that's really was. You don't have a pair of Jordans, you got to have a pair of Jordans. And then what year was it that they took the swoosh off and just started using the 23? Am I correct? Didn't one year they took off the swoosh and then only just used 23 in the future?
Well, not 23. They switched to the Jumpman.
Oh, the Jumpman look, right?
Yeah. That was in the second Jordan had no swoosh, so that was 1987, 88, the Jordan 2. And then from there they did different iterations, but that kind of established, look, we can do this, we're on our way to becoming our own brand. And yes, technically to this day, Nike Inc. owns Jordan brand, but it has its own management team, its own, it's like a subsidiary kind of, and frankly, their most successful one. But that started with the Jordan 1 came out 2 years in a row, and then with the swoosh, it was basically a Nike shoe with a little wings logo, they called it on the tongue.
I remember them.
And then after that, they got rid of the big swoosh. Well, they kept it on most of their other basketball shoes, but the Jordans didn't have it after that.
Well,
for a couple of years they had it small on the back, but it was only the dominant design feature on the very first shoe.
Well, one last thing before I let you go, because you're all about basketball, and of course you'll give me the website and all the stuff where everyone can buy the book. But what just happened in the last few days with Donald Sterling, the LA Clippers? You've been around, and your website and the magazine and all that stuff. I mean, you guys are basketball, like you said. What is your take on what happened with Donald Sterling in the NBA this week?
I just wrote a little something in my editor's letter for the next issue. I was sad and a little ashamed in the sense. I was sad because people were hurt by his words and the coverage of them, but disappointed to some degree of myself and Slam and really everyone that makes their money off basketball or even supports it, that goes to Clipper games or plays for the Clippers or works for the Clippers or works for the NBA or other teams. We knew this guy was a creep, and worse than a creep, a hateful, borderline, illegal, discriminatory man, and everyone kind of let him get away with it. So part of me wishes that, we're not known for our investigative reporting by any means, but we can take a social stand now and then, and, part of me wishes we'd done so, and I would like to think the Players Association wishes that they'd fought harder again, and if the owners care at all about, the world and not just their investments, which is questionable, but who knows? I hope some of them are kicking themselves, and I hope David Stern is sort of kicking himself that he didn't deal with this guy.
Right, when he was the commissioner.
A long time ago. And Adam Silver, I think, he did the right thing. He was very impressive in the press conference, but he said something like, this is not based on what happened in the past at all. I mean, that seems crazy to me. And it should be based on what happened, and there should have been more, punishments for this guy a long time ago. So that's my personal opinion.
I agree with that. Ben Osborne, Basketball Sneakers That Changed the Game. Where can people buy the book, the website? Give us all that stuff before I let you go.
Well, the company is Rizzoli, Rizzoli, RizzoliUSA.com. If you want to buy it straight from them, which is kind of fun to do, but if you want to save a few bucks, knowing the way the book industry works, Amazon has lots of copies too, and they've got a discount on there. You just go to Amazon.com and enter Slam Kicks or Basketball Sneakers. I mean, now it's probably in the 30s or 40s in their rankings for some of the categories, but the first week or two, it was like number 1 book for fashion photography, number 2 book for basketball. So it was, you Google it, whatever, Slam Kicks, any bookstore should have it. So straight from Rizzoli, Amazon, your local bookseller. It's in major release, and we welcome all the support.
Ben Osborne, thank you very much. I appreciate you being on Sports Biz with LD.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you. Wow, Ben Osborne saying, that, and he's been in the circles that, that was around, that they were saying that Sterling wasn't a good guy. And that's going to start coming out. And he made a good point, too, that, with David Stern, who used to be the commissioner, nobody did anything. Nobody said anything, that's kind of stuff you don't like to hear, but it's out there. We got a lot more to talk about with Donald Sterling, but I'd like to just talk about one of our sponsors, the Rampart Group. Quality, integrity, professionalism. The only way it should be in the insurance business or any other business. Any insurance you need, they have it. I mean, they've only been around over 40 years. I think that's pretty strong in business. RampartGroup.com for all your insurance needs. Love that they're a sponsor of the show. Always appreciated. Off the Chest is something that we do every week because, as all of you know, I got so much to talk about and so many things I like and so many things that bother me. So let's get right to Donald Sterling, the LA Clipper owner. Fine, $2.5 million. At first I heard that. I go, why didn't I fine him 10? But I found out that that's the most the NBA could fine him. Banned for life. As he should be. Now, the laws in California say that you just can't tape conversation between two people. So, something? If he goes to fight this, he probably would win in a court of law because it's not admissible. But in the court of life, the guy's a piece of garbage. This is unacceptable in this world. But there are still people like this in this world. We have some clips from Adam Silver, our commissioner, courtesy of NBA.com, NBA TV. Can we please play the first clip of Adam Silver?
Accordingly, effective immediately, I am banning Mr. Sterling for life from any association with the Clippers organization or the NBA. Mr. Sterling may not attend any NBA games or practices. He may not be present at any Clippers facility, and he may not participate in any business or player personnel decisions involving the team. He will also be barred from attending NBA Board of Governors meetings or participating in any other league activity. I am also fining Mr. Sterling $2.5 million, the maximum amount allowed under the NBA Constitution.
I mean, what else should he have said? There are people out there like, it was such a hard decision. He just got into the job a couple of months ago. Hard decision. It was an easy decision. This guy does not belong. The man doesn't belong in society, but that's a whole nother story. Right now, this man does not belong in the NBA, and whether or not it's a predominantly African-American league, it's not the point. Does not belong in this league. Let's go back to Adam Silver. What else did Adam have to say, our commissioner?
As for Mr. Sterling's ownership interest in the Clippers, I will urge the Board of Governors to exercise its authority to force a sale of the team, and will do everything in my power to ensure that that happens.
Basically, he's saying 75% of the ownership have to agree to throw him out of the league. I'd like to find one owner who's going to end up not agreeing with that. Yeah, that'll be really good. He'll be the next owner that we throw out. You know, a lot of guys around the NBA had some opinions. Let's go to Kevin Johnson, the great Kevin Johnson, played for Phoenix Suns for many, many years, and now he's the mayor of Sacramento, right out there in California.
There will be zero tolerance for institutional racism, no matter how rich or powerful.
Exactly. Who cares who you are, or where you are, or how much money you have? This is unacceptable behavior. Totally unacceptable. What else did Kevin Johnson say? KJ.
Throughout history, sports has played a pivotal role in advancing civil rights. Tommy Smith, John Carlos at the 1968 Olympics. Great leaders like Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Arthur Ashe, Jason Collins, and our very own Jackie Robinson.
Brings in the great Jackie Robinson. Again, compliments of NBA.com and NBA TV. You know, just last night I really love the show Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. And he did a whole take, one of his guys did a whole take on the NBA, TNT on the NBA. NBA on TNT. It's a great show, been involved about 25 years. I want to go and get the take of those three guys. You got Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Smith, our own Kenny Smith from here in New York. I want to go first to what Charles Barkley had to say, courtesy again of the NBA on TNT.
I was in shock today. I ain't gonna even lie, Ernie. I was sitting there. I built my whole day. I've got to be in front of my television at 2 o'clock. And when he said, I actually thought, I mean, we talked about a little bit off camera, like a year. We thought basically a year. He was going to be suspended. I don't know what you guys thought, but we talked about it. I said he's going to get at least a year. That's what I was thinking. When he said lifetime, I said, wow.
You know, another one, Charles also a little surprised. Again, I didn't think it was a tough decision. This is what you have to do. Come in and be powerful, be strong. You're the commissioner. This is, again, I used the word already, unacceptable. Let's hear what Shaq said also, again, courtesy, NBA on TNT.
I give him an A+. We all knew that he had a very tough decision in front of him. He was firm. He was aggressive as he possibly could be, and he did an unbelievable job. Hopefully all the other owners will have zero tolerance for comments like this. And he did a wonderful job. Now, hopefully he can make them forced to sell, and we can start all over.
Yeah, they'll force him to sell. And right after we hear the last comment by Kenny Smith, also on the same broadcast, we're going to talk about what I think it's worth. And there are some big name people that we all know who are very interested in the LA Clippers. Let's go back and listen to what Kenny Smith, also on the same show, said again, courtesy of the NBA on TNT.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, and I echo what you said. It was one of the proudest moments I had, being in the NBA family. It was emotional as I was watching it. At the same time, as therapeutic, and at the same time, again, it was a teaching tool for me. And to see Adam Silver act directly, passionately, and accurately, all in one, was very interesting to see someone do that. And it was clear in his thoughts, because it's not a money issue to me, and it never was. I don't care if he makes money on the sale or not, but it's about the conditions that the work environment in the United States of America.
That's the great Kenny Smith, won 2 NBA titles with the Houston Rockets right from here in Queens, New York. And, it seems like everybody's saying the same thing. Zero tolerance, unacceptable. And now moving on for them to force the team. I think he paid $12 million for the team. $12 million. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks were just sold for about $500 and change. $550, right around there. This team, the Lakers signed a TV deal for 20 years. Imagine 20 years for $3 billion. That's a TV deal. They play in the same arena in the same neighborhood. New York, LA, Chicago, the 3 strongest markets in the country. This team, to me, is worth $800-900 million. It's worth that kind of money. The Knicks and the Lakers at 1 and 2, I think they're both worth over $1 billion. LA Clippers are worth a lot of money. And now you have some famous people lining up. Oprah's going to put a little team together to buy the team. Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions. Money Mayweather, greatest fighter right now in the world. Floyd Mayweather. And he came out and said, listen, I'm not agreeing with what Donald Sterling said, but anytime I was with him, he said the guy treated him like gold. As he should. But he didn't know what he was saying when he left Floyd. He didn't know behind your back what he was saying, Floyd. And my last comment on this is the whole charity world. The NAACP is honoring him for what? Did the NAACP do any homework on him? That years earlier he was sued on 2 different occasions and ended up settling. So when you settle, except for you and me, we have no money, we got to settle because we can't afford attorneys, and he's got them and can. You settle, that means you're admitting you're guilty. I don't care what anybody says. And he gave minorities money because he didn't want, I think it was like Mexicans and African Americans and renting from him. And he lost because it's not the right thing to do. We live in an equal opportunity world. This is the United States of America. Hopefully, this man will go away, will sell. Hopefully, he's not going to take them to court. We don't need it. Sterling, just go away. Go find a hole. Stay there. Nobody needs to see you, okay? Go bunker up in one of your mansions and leave the rest of us alone because there's no one out there who's on your side. Let's move on because, as you know, there's always so much to talk about and so little time. That's the problem here. There's so little time. Got to get to all my notes. There was so much I had on Sterling. Can't even get to it. The New York Knicks. So the great thing about being in New York and everybody's always following you. Phil Jackson ended up having a conversation, having dinner out with Steve Kerr. And like I've been saying on this show for about a month, I believe Steve Kerr's the guy. He's looking to be the guy. He's doing his homework. A little surprising thing that just came up. Tom Thibodeau, who's the very well-respected coach of the Chicago Bulls. I don't know how, but the Chicago Bulls gave the LA Lakers, who Mike D'Antoni just left. He said he resigned. Basically, they told him, Mike, don't come back. I mean, you want to say resign, just sounds better. They're letting him interview with the Lakers. He's under contract to the Bulls. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe they got a problem with him, but he's one of the best coaches in the NBA, and you're going to let him know? Is that going to push Phil to go to Steve and Steve, I got to get this done? I don't know. But it's an interesting take what's going on in the NBA, that they're interested in him, and the Bulls are letting him talk to them. Very interesting. And then they have a photo of Phil Jackson coming out of a restaurant in Manhattan, speaking to Carmelo. Listen, Carmelo could be the man in the triangle offense, but you got to love what Phil Jackson's already said in the press, and I'm sure he told Carmelo, you said you'll take less money? Put your money where your mouth is. You want to play with less money? He said it. LeBron took less. Kevin Durant at Oklahoma City took less. Dwayne Wade took less. Guys take less. You want max money? You can't put the team together. You want to win? You need other components. You need other players. You got to take a little less money. Got to be the way you got to do it in today's NBA. And the NBA playoffs coming up on Saturday. You got 3 Game 7s. I mean, wow, man. You know, years ago they used to say the NBA is fantastic. I mean, what could you ask for? In the Oklahoma City-Memphis series, they had 4 overtime games. That's right, OT. I mean, you got to love that. That's what sports is all about. That's why sports is the reality show. You know, we're looking at all these reality shows, but those reality shows are made reality shows. Like they're putting some things in there to make the reality a little better or a little worse. Sports is reality. Okay, I was at the Ranger game the other night, Game 7. 2-1 win. That's reality. That's sitting on the edge of your seat. That's sports. That's the love affair of sports. The Garden going crazy. I mean, you gotta love it. Sports is number one. Everybody wants to be involved in sports. And why shouldn't they? And then in the NHL, the LA Kings come back from a 3-0 deficit. It's only been done 3 other times. That's right. They were down 0-3. And they won the next 4 games to move on in the playoffs. And they won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. And their goalie, Jonathan Quick, is from right here in Connecticut, right here in the tri-state area. You got to love when, you know, one of our own is one of the players on the team. And Jonathan Quick is one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. And he led them to the Stanley Cup just 2 years ago. A couple of more things on my plate before we go. Again, there's always so much, so I want to get to it. The Hawks Pacers. I like the Pacers coming back. That's another one of the Game 7s. Don't forget the Grizzlies, Thunder, Clippers, Warriors, and the Brooklyn Nets tonight in Brooklyn. They got to win. They were down by 25 and came back to within 3. But they did not win because you were down by 25. Come on, Brooklyn. Come on, guys. You got to come back. And I just got to say at the end, it just really bothers me, the Sterling thing. I hope it doesn't happen again. But it should not be a part of everything in life besides racism. Last week we talked about Jason Collins being the first gay athlete to come out. The world we live in, we need to be as one. All this stuff doesn't matter. Who cares? Black, white, Chinese, Catholic, Jewish, who cares? It shouldn't matter. What your sexual decisions are, who cares? To me, it doesn't matter. Again, I want to thank the Rampart Group. I appreciate them being a sponsor all this time with the show. I want to thank Daily Blue. Without Daily Blue, I would not be here. And again, Facebook, Sports Biz with LD, tweet me, Sports Biz with LD on the website. And one last thing, my buddy, and I'm on the board as well, the Big Daddy Golf Classic. You're going to love that. We're going to be there with the camera crew. This year we're honoring Jason Kidd and Bruce Ratner. Bruce Ratner happens to be the guy who owned the Nets, put the Barclays Center together, and of course Jay Kidd being the head coach. Again, I want to thank everyone out there. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, go to my website, sportsbizwithld.com, go to thedailyblue.com, and then my good friend Rich Salgado, Big Daddy, golfclassic.com. See you next week, everybody. I appreciate it. Enjoy your Game 7s tomorrow on NBA.
Sports Biz is sponsored by the Rampart Insurance Group for all your insurance needs. Special thanks to mintpros.com. Brought to you by the Daily Blue Network. Sports fans, this is Sports Biz with LD.